Disney lies, Kathleen Kennedy lies, Lucasfilm lies, but the numbers don't.
What's this, motherfucker? What's this? Huh?
The Nielsen ratings just showed the top 10 most viewed Star Wars projects of 2025, and there's not a single sequel trilogy film to be seen. Shocker. Let's quickly run through the list. At number 1 is Andor. Number 2, A New Hope. Number 3, The Phantom Menace. Number 4, The Empire Strikes Back. Number 5, Revenge of the Sith. Number 6, Attack of the Clones. 7, Return of the Jedi. 8, Rogue One. 9, Tales of the Underworld. And 10, Star Wars The Clone Wars. The Force Awakens made over $2 billion, and yet on the year of its 10-year anniversary, it couldn't even crack the top 10?
Pathetic.
And where are all of the Disney Plus shows? Sure, Andor is there on this list along with Tales of the Underworld and the Clone Wars, but those were all generally well received by the public. However, Ahsoka, Kenobi, Acolyte, Book of Boba Fett, hell, even the frickin' Mandalorian is nowhere to be found on this list. Now granted, some of these titles like Andor and Tales of the Underworld are only here because they released in 2025, but that doesn't explain the absences of the majority of the Disney era projects. They're nowhere to be found.
That's just awful. How terrible. Oh no.
But I was told by sequels defenders that these movies would age like fine wine, like the prequels, and garner a loyal audience over time once the public could fully marinate on their collective genius.
He's full of shit.
It's almost like this was insane cope since Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, and even people like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni took a giant bantha poodoo on George Lucas's legacy. And when you're talking about the aging of the prequels versus the sequels, it's night and day. You can't even compare the two. I love the prequels, and so does an entire generation who grew up with them. And they are far from perfect, but in spite of their flaws, they really tapped into what made Star Wars incredible. The rise and fall of Anakin, the split between him and Obi-Wan, the near extinction of the Jedi, and the ascension of the Empire hit fans on a deep emotional level. But what exactly do fans still have to cherish about the sequels? A story that rehashes the original trilogy, only shittier? A main character who is perfect from the start, never loses nor undergoes any meaningful character development? The systematic killing of Han, Luke, and Leia that tore down these legendary characters in order to make way for paper-thin facsimiles?
Wow, this is garbage.
Revenge of the Sith re-released in 2025 and did incredibly well in the theaters, while Force Awakens' 10th anniversary was barely a blip on the radar. A lot of people gave Force Awakens a pass because they assumed that the following two films would really flesh out all of the missing gaps, but since it didn't, and the answers we got were shit, why the hell would you ever turn on Force Awakens when A New Hope exists?
I don't know.
And on this same note, not a single soul is rewatching the Battle of Crate instead of the Battle of Hoth, or rewatching the throne room scene in The Rise of Skywalker instead of the one in Return of the Jedi. And from a world building perspective, there's nothing going on in the sequel trilogy era. Think what you want about the prequels, but there were so many new concepts and ideas that were introduced that were able to be fleshed out in order to make the universe feel larger, more expansive, and more cohesive. A lot of it was too far for a lot of the OT fans, and I understand that, but you gotta give them credit for at least trying to push the envelope. The sequels did the absolute opposite of this. They kept things as vague as possible so that they didn't have to explain how the New Republic fell and a new empire rose to power in less than 30 years. And also, how the hell people don't remember the Jedi when Luke Skywalker would be the equivalent of Jesus Christ in the Star Wars galaxy. I could go on, but I'll just end up raging. The point is, by refusing to set the groundwork for the sequels and giving them as little depth as possible, fans have nothing to be interested in this era. Why the hell would you waste 7 or 8 hours rewatching these films when there's nothing really here. What these Nielsen ratings really reveal is that in spite of the years of horrendous Disney Star Wars content, there is still a fan base eager for the mythic storytelling George Lucas established, but they're no longer willing to slop up dogshit stories devoid of soul, logic, or any sense of care.
You big dildo. Eat your fucking slop.
And this is just something Lucasfilm seems that they can't get away from. They don't understand how to fix things, and if they do, they're unwilling to do so. There's a reason there hasn't been a movie for Star Wars released in 6 years, and that the entire franchise hinges on a green booger with learning disabilities and a Boba Fett ripoff whose character is less charismatic than a gonk droid.
You want a piece of me? You got it!
This is what happens when a group of cultural vandals who are cosplaying as Lucasfilm employees get into writers' rooms. These are people who intended to fix what they viewed as outdated and cliche by shoving modern social and political messaging into a franchise that is supposed to be set in a galaxy far, far away. And even though Emperor Kathleen Kennedy is gone, Dave Filoni made Ahsoka, and he approved garbage like The Acolyte, The Kenobi Show, and others. So he is proven to have the spine of a Dagobah snake when it comes to standing up for George Lucas's vision. And the funny part is, Lucasfilm has all but admitted defeat. It's far too late, but they've finally been brought to their knees. Galaxy's Edge, which was stuck in the sequel trilogy timeline, has pivoted to introduce Han, Luke, Leia, and Vader. There hasn't been a single update on the Rey film that was announced over 3 years ago, and there's generally no direction for the Star Wars franchise moving forward besides the fact that Star Wars Starfighter is slated to come out next year. But how is that going to fix a galaxy that is in literal ruins from a storytelling perspective?
Unfortunately, our conclusion, essentially, is that you're fucked.
Is there any saving Star Wars? It really feels at this point whatever is done is far little too late. There has been a great disturbance in the Force ever since George sold the franchise to Bob Iger in 2012. It took a Herculean effort to destroy the most iconic cinematic franchise ever, and it's going to take an even greater miracle to revive it. Maybe there is an Anakin out there, a chosen one who's destined to bring Star Wars back to its former glory, but it's pretty freaking clear that they don't currently work at Lucasfilm. Thank you so much for watching the video this long. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. My goal is to hit 5K subs by July, so any help is greatly appreciated. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Is my analysis correct, or do you think I'm being too harsh on Lucasfilm? Also, what's your favorite Star Wars movie or project? Who's your favorite character? And what movies or shows do you hope are announced in the near future? Again, I appreciate you viewing for this long, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, and may the Force be with you always.